I shall not take more than a very few moments to say a very few things. The one word that kept coming to me as I was hearing the Nada Yogi was ethereal. The word ethereal is derived from the word, or an extension of the word ether, which is the description of a level which is above the spheres of the atmosphere and the ozone of zones above those spheres. It is just pure ether. When we heard Subbulakshmi, we felt that we were in that ether. And ether is also the ineffable substance which is used to render a person unconscious. And that is exactly what used to happen when we heard Subbulakshmi. And there is also exactly what has happened to us when we have heard the Nada Yogi. The other thing which I want to say is that she was the climate that made all the seasons. And unlike the West, where there are 4 seasons, we have 6 seasons. We have brought in 2 nuances, Varsha and Hemanta, to fill out the totality of the human emotional range. The Nada Yogi played for her when she was in the high noon of the summer. And we have in Vidwan Sriram Kumar here who played in her Shishira, in the winter. And so the cycle of all the seasons which made for the climate of Subbulakshmi is present here in this hall. The next and the last thing I wish to say is that no human being is perfect. In fact, I don't think perfection is a human possibility. The only 2 things which I feel are perfect are the lack of envy, anasuyam, is perfect. The second thing which is perfect, I think, is forgiveness. These 2 are nearest to perfection. I think there is a third, and which is the pure innocence of an infant becoming a child. These 3 are about the perfect. And all these 3 perfections were there in a large measure, not in full measure, in her. I say not in full measure because I believe no one is perfect. To not envy is very difficult. To forgive is very difficult. And as one grows, to retain the innocence of an infant becoming a child is next to impossible. But she approached all these 3 perfections almost to perfection. And I think that is what we have to remember when we seek to remember her today. There is in the rendering of Meenakshi Memudam which we heard here today, that which reminded me of a little versification that occurred to me many years ago, which was as follows. The novitiate tufted priest forgot in the Meenakshi temple. The novitiate tufted priest forgot duties which his senior had taught when he saw Meenakshi's eyes with the singers synchronize.
Good evening. This evening is a very blissful evening. It brought to us the memory of a great soul, the departed soul, Srimati Amma Subbulakshmi. We talked about the perfection that is very difficult to achieve. But if somebody has approached that, both in terms of her personal life as well as the professional achievement, probably the only one person who comes close to that is Srimati Amma Subbulakshmi. It is not for me here to trumpet my personal association, but I do want to put on record that the relationship that I had with Srimati Amma Subbulakshmi and the family goes back about 40 years or so. And in that period I came to know what a complete musician she was, as well as what a perfect human being she was. There is a saying in Tamil, Tanakku poga dhanam. Srimati Amma Subbulakshmi in her life had the motto that Dhanathukku piragudan Tanakku. And I had seen it at a personal level in her interaction, even when she was not in a great financial position. The extent to which she went to help others was something that was unbelievable. Mother Teresa was in New York, where she was surrounded by many multi-millionaires, and they gave in one evening something like close to about $20 million to her charity. And she had one single word, thank you. And somebody took objection to it, saying that we gave you so much of money. Is that all you could say? And she said that you come to Calcutta and there is a rickshaw puller who earns about 5 rupees a day, and he gives 1 rupee out of that to me. That 1 rupee being given out is far more valuable than you as a multi-millionaire when you write a check for $500,000. In that sense, Amma Subbulakshmi's life was like that. It's one thing when she had the resources to support, but there were times when those resources were dried up, and yet she found means to go out and support the people who needed the help. That's on the personal side of that one. On the professional side or on the musical side, I have seen the absolute devotion she had in pursuing that art as the ultimate homage to the musical deity. The reverence with which she approached the music is the one that we felt when she sang. And today, Sri Nada Yogi, Sri V.V.Subramanyan sir, when he played on the violin, we had glimpses of the perfection of Srimati Amma Subbulakshmi and the humanity that she had. Both was reflected in his playing there. It is one thing to take the instrument and be a master in it. It's another thing to take the instrument, get the music, and touch the heart of the people who are listening to it. Sri V.V.Subramanyan sir today achieved the impossible. He just had only about 3 items, and each one of them came to us like a full many gem of purest serene. Thank you very much.
சார் அவரை பற்றி சொல்ல வேண்டாமா? பேர்பட்ட பரம்பரை.
ஆமாம். Yes. Tirchur Narendran, and again we go back long time. We had the pleasure of bringing him to the United States quite a few times. Yeah, worthy disciple of Palkat Sri Raghu. He plays for the music, and he plays for himself, and then he plays so that he can elevate all of us. today's performance is no exception. Whether he plays for an instrument or a vocalist, whether he plays for a seasoned artist or a novice, he not only makes that music come out in all its glory, but somewhere along the line there will be a little bit of his own mark that will also be noticeable. Thank you very much for your wonderful, wonderful support.